Todd Dunn here on November 3rd, 2017. Once again, I'm over at the boatyard and I'm going to put the second plank. Once again, I'm over at the boatyard and I'm going to put the second plank end on Tortuga's bow to replace the punky wood. What I'm going to do is I'll coat the scarf on the plank and the scarf here with unthickened epoxy. I'm using West System 105 resin with their 205 hardener. Once I put that on and let it soak in for a little bit, I'm going to coat this surface of the plank with some more West System epoxy, but thickened with their 403 microfibers. And I'll show you that procedure. Once that's done, I'll put the plank up here and clamp it and put the screws in to hold it. I've already pre-drilled all the screw holes. They're pre-drilled in the plank, and I've drilled through into the frames and the stem. So all I have to do is run the screws in once I get this up there and clamped in place. So that'll be pretty quick. Shouldn't take more than a few minutes. So the first step is to coat the scarf surfaces with unthickened epoxy. I'm ready to go now. I've got some epoxy in this plastic cup where I mixed it, and I'm using the inexpensive but high-tech fingertip spreader here because I couldn't really justify paying for a brush to do this for such a small job. Just didn't make sense to spend the better part of $1 on a brush that I'm going to use for about 2 minutes and then throw away. So I just spread on a layer of unthickened epoxy, and the purpose of this is to soak in a little and fill the pores in the wood so that the epoxy, the thickened epoxy, won't get all of the actual resin drawn out of it into the wood, leaving a glue-starved joint. So put that on like that, and do the same on the plank end. This is a pretty straightforward procedure, doesn't take long. Okay, that's on there. So at this point I'm just going to clean up a little bit so that I don't get epoxy all over everything. Wipe off excess. And go up here and wipe off a little excess that bled down onto the plank below. I don't want to glue these two planks together, although to some extent with squeeze out there will be some gluing. Okay, at this point I'm going to go add the thickener to this epoxy. I'll be right back. I've added 403 microfibers to this epoxy and stirred it up until it's somewhere kind of halfway between peanut butter and mayonnaise. I'm going to spread it on the scarf surface of the plank like this. Just get a liberal amount on there. I don't want to inadvertently create a glue-starved joint. Here we go. And while I'm doing this, you may recall on the first plank I put a drywall screw in here to hold the two halves together because my clamp didn't extend far enough. So I've drilled that hole out after removing the screw. I'm just going to fill it with some thickened epoxy. Make it a little bit proud so that there won't be a hole there. And in addition, I won't mistake that for a bung that I'll have to remove if I ever have to take this off again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this surface with a notched trowel just to create a little bit better glue line and take off some excess glue. Okay. at this point, as soon as I clean up a little bit here, I will be ready to put this plank end on. I have, as I said, I've got all the holes pre-drilled. The screws are set out here. The drill is ready. Everything's ready to go at this point. So I'm just going to pick up my clamp that I'm going to use to clamp this in place, to clamp this scarf joint together, and put that in. I've got more room up here, so, and also I brought a clamp with a deeper mouth so that I could get it in there more into the center of that piece of that scarf joint. So this goes up here like this, and lined up forward, and I will put this clamp on here, kind of right in the middle of the scarf joint, and suck it down. And I can see I've got a little bit of, make sure that wood stays in the right place here. Okay, that's clamped adequately. Now I'm going to remove any excess epoxy here so I don't have to sand it off. And hopefully I won't end up gluing these planks together. Okay, so at this point I'm ready to put my screws in. As I put these screws in, the screws themselves are going to draw the plank down. So these are number 12 by 1 3/4 stainless steel screws. I'm using stainless steel because I'm above the water line, so it shouldn't be an issue. Put them on there. Go. 2 down. All done. That finishes the installation of this plank end. It's going to be fairly cold for the next couple of nights, and although it's 60 degrees now, it's supposed to get down to about 40 tonight, not get much warmer tomorrow, and then down into the upper 30s on Saturday night. So I'm going to leave this for probably until Monday to let the epoxy cure completely before I take this clamp off, just so I have a good set on there. And then I'll come back and put the last plank in. I've already shaped it, although putting this one in, it may not have come out exactly in the right place, so I will need perhaps to make a couple more passes with the plane, but it won't be a big deal to get this last plank end to fit. And as you saw today, it will only take about 5 to 10 minutes to actually do the installation. So, thanks a lot for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and you're welcome to share this video as you wish, and I hope you enjoyed it.